Hey there guys, this is JW Vincent, and welcome back to The Year in Gaming, Season 0. I'm sure you've noticed by now, if you've been following along, that my Breath of Fire 3 review is a bit delayed. It was intended to come out on September 15th, and instead what we have is a video possibly uploaded on September 20th. Or is today the 21st? Who knows? Anyway, this issue in scheduling brings me to a bit of uncertainty I have about The Year in Gaming. I wasn't entirely sure what I was doing with it really. I was just playing games from 1997, still am, and not certain what the review portion is supposed to be about. And I guess that's why I wanted to do a sort of pre-season, my Season 0 if you will. It's to figure out what exactly I'm doing. And I think that what I'm looking at is creating a review series where I decide if I think a game is worth playing based on the first 2 hours of gameplay, which is kind of what I'm doing. I'm sitting down playing only 2 hours of a game that I've never played before for the most part, and I'm saying this game is bad or good based entirely on the merits of those first 2 hours. Which seems like a fair judgment if I'm only playing 2 hours of the game in the first place. I mean, really, who wants to play more than 2 hours of a game and then decide that it's not worth playing? I'll save you that hassle. I'll play a game for 2 hours and tell you if it's worth playing. All of that being said, I think it's about time that I give you my first shot review of Capcom's Breath of Fire 3. Please enjoy. Now, Breath of Fire 3 is a JRPG that comes in at a weird time for JRPGs. Releasing early in the PlayStation's life, this gem is caught right between the 2D masterpieces of the SNES generation and the 3D kingpins of the PlayStation era. And frankly, as a 2D, pure turn-based RPG, Breath of Fire 3 does a wonderful job of holding its own. Really, right from the beginning, I can tell this game's gonna grab my attention. I mean, you start the game as a dragon who was just released from an ancient gem, and shortly after, you're torching your way through miners trying to capture you, and then, after riding on a train for like ever, you meet a freaking were-tiger. At first glance, Breath of Fire 3 isn't doing a lot to bend the rules of your typical JRPG, but give it a little time and it'll get there. One bright side of this system is that, unlike Croc from last week, I don't have to sit down and read a manual to figure out what I'm doing. The only option that really threw me for a loop was the examine rule, and I kind of figured that out intuitively on my own. No mashing buttons randomly hoping to understand it. You know. Good mechanics. Now, I didn't quite get to the point where the combat system starts to really evolve. From what I understand, there are bits of specialization your characters can get into, and eventually Ryu will even get to turn into a dragon again. A freaking dragon! But I probably wouldn't ever make it to such a point in the game without a group of characters that are relatable and fun. Jeez, do these guys do that well? You can start with beautiful sprite work for each and every character, and you can tie all of that sprite work together with characters who all have a decent amount of depth. Even the NPCs aren't without a bit of class. But in just 2 hours, or a little less, I truly fell in love with Teepo, Ray, and Ryu. Insofar as spoilers a friend spat at me about potentially losing party members later really made me afraid of progressing too quickly. Even without getting into the meat of the game, Breath of Fire 3 has already impressed me. And I don't think I have to say much more. It's got a beautiful soundtrack, a great cast of characters, and a good, flowing combat system. I mean, it's almost everything a JRPG fan could ask for. I say almost everything because, despite having looked ahead a bit, the fact is that during those first 2 hours, I didn't get a lot of the grand scheme of things. I'm kind of just a dragon boy who fell into the lives of a couple of thieves, and that's it. You kill a chimera and save the town, but I expect a big bad to fall into my lap too, and I'm sure it will 2 hours and 30 minutes into the game, but those first 2 hours are key. And during that time, the story didn't just jump out at me. There were a few instances of, oh, something big's happening, like with the introduction of Loki at the end of that 2-hour segment, or even the mysterious figure who says things inside Ryu's head early in the game, but that's just not enough to really rope me into a story. All in all, this game is like a well-aged Irish whiskey. Time has been nothing if not good to it. nothing but good to it. That was a waste of $45. Unlike Breath of Fire 3. You know what else Breath of Fire 3 doesn't have in common with this whiskey? If I were reviewing this whiskey, I would definitely not give it a 4 out of 5, but I will, for certain, give Breath of Fire 3 a 4 out of 5 and revisit it in the future. That's all I had to say about that, actually. That's the whole review. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you again Friday, I would say next week, but it's Wednesday, so I'll see you again Friday when we review Fallout. Not the new one, the old one. The not so very fun one. But we'll talk about that Friday. Bye-bye.